every limitation. So my story begins a while back. So for many or of you may know or some may not know, I was raised and born in Montreal, Canada. I was raised with my mom, my dad, and at the tender age of 4, we moved to Ottawa. Myself, my sister, and my mother, and my father stayed in Montreal. So it was just us going to Ottawa. My dad stayed in Montreal, and at that time my parents separated. So now it was gonna be a couple years of just my sister and I live with my mom in Ottawa. So at that time, as my mom was raising me, she's such a wonderful mother. She did raise us in a Catholic home. So for many years, up until grade 12, our family was a family who was Catholic. So we went to church on Sundays, and obviously we went to church in like traditional days like Christmas, Thanksgiving, like things like that. So we weren't really in a sense religious, but we did go every Sunday and partake of like everything that Catholics do. So at that time, I never felt like, as a young age, up until grade 12, I never connected to being a Catholic. I knew like what it was and what they teach us and what we say at Catholic schools. But for me, myself, and I would have like random moments where I was in my room, whether I was feeling alone, my parents, me and my mom was having a disagreement or anything like that. I just always found myself praying to God. And the thing is, I wasn't like, I knew about Jesus and like, you know, the Holy Trinity and everything, but it's just like at that time, like I made it personal to me. Like I wasn't as deep, like my relationship with God was not as deep because I just knew a little bit of the surface, but there's always something deep down in me that just really wanted to connect all the time. So whenever I was sad or anything, I would just connect. I would just literally go down my knees on my bed and just pray, talk to him, and just try and see like what it's all about. But something always pulled me towards him, even when I didn't even know what I was saying or why I was praying or whatnot. So that was pretty much my whole childhood. Throughout high school, I did have like an identity issue within myself. Like I always like knew who I was, but then I didn't know the full picture of who I truly was. So throughout high school, I definitely struggled a lot with my self-identity, my security, my confidence. It was really hard. And then of course, like in a sense, I was raised kind of in a way worldly, in a sense that like I went to parties, I drank, I smoked occasionally. That was pretty much me in my teenage years. I was really rebellious when I was younger. I used to do a lot of things that I shouldn't have done, and I was also like, in a sense you would say, like the popular kid. So I was always with the crowd that was like popular, going to those popular parties, like mixing myself with people that I shouldn't have, but that's all I knew at that time. And that's what all like my high school experience was at that time. So that's what that was. So that's pretty much how I lived my life while I was younger, all the way to my teenage years. And one thing that my family, my whole big family, we used to do family reunions every summer time. We would meet at a different location, and like every like cousins, uncles, anybody would just come, and then we would just spend like a whole weekend or a week together and just like kind of bring the family together. So at that time, it was funny because in 2009, I used to work at this grocery store, and at that time there was my cousin who lived in the same area as me, but I never knew she was my cousin. So she used to always come to the grocery store, and I used to always check her out, and we did small talks and whatnot. So that same year in 2009, during the summertime, when she came to the family reunion, that was the first time that she came, and that was the first time that she came. So that family reunion, I met my cousin there, and we started talking throughout the whole weekend together, and I just felt really connected to her. So throughout the whole weekend, every time we were to go to bed, she would always like read her Bible in her bed before she went to bed. And as I was just sitting there, I was always observing her, like throughout like the 3-4 nights that we were there. I was observing her, how she read the Bible, and then she prayed, and then she went to bed. And I'm just like, wow, like that's kind of interesting that you do that. Because at that time, again, like me being Catholic, I just prayed here, there, and then go to church. I never really had like a really deep connection with God, or I knew about even reading the scriptures and whatnot. So I remember one of those nights I asked her, and then she was just like, yeah, like I read the Bible, like, Jesus is my friend. And my cousin's very bubbly like me, so she was making it sound like, well, not making it sound, but the way she spoke about God was so like deep, and like you can feel the love, that she had with somebody that, like, in a sense, like you can't see or can't feel. So it really intrigued me, and it really captivated me at that moment. So she started talking to me about about God, like her Christianity, her relationship with him, and like the church she used to go to. So from the summertime all the way to December, every weekend she would ask me, come to church, and I would say like, no, I'm not coming, or I would find an excuse like my mom doesn't want me to go or anything like that, just not to go. But finally, in December, I decided to go to the church that she was going at. And when I got there, it was funny, I didn't know until then, but the pastor was talking about suicide, how he overcame it, and there was a specific lady, we're still friends to this day, but she sang this powerful song during that service that I went. So I don't know why, but the testimony of the pastor and her singing that song that she sang at the time, I can't even remember what song it was, but I remember it just like really like always playing in my head, like it really touched me so deep. So I'm just like, okay, cool, like pretty good. The church was good, but I'm just like, I made up my mind that I'm not going back, because I was still, my mind, it was that after, like, because this was my last year of high school, I'm going to Miami, I'm going to go live my best life in a couple years, and when I get married, that's when I'm going to try and get a relationship with God kind of situation. So, at the same time all this was happening, I was in a relationship with this guy for a year, and it was probably one of the most difficult relationships I've ever been in. It was really tough because, like I said, I didn't know my identity. So being with somebody that like kind of overpowers you, and that you don't know who you are, so it's like you kind of lose yourself in that relationship. So I definitely lost myself in that relationship with the person that I was at the time, and just give parts of myself that I shouldn't have at that time. So I was really connected to that person. Like he was like my reason to live. Like he was a person that, like, without him, like I can't even think about the next day. I couldn't think about the next year. I just know that I'm gonna be with this person for the rest of my life, and that's it, that's all. So basically that relationship, there was a lot of bumps on the road with that relationship, like constant fighting, arguing, making up, and all that kind of stuff. So it was a lot to deal with, and especially the things I was dealing with, my self-identity didn't help at all. But I'm just like, I'm gonna stick it out because I love this person or whatever. So basically, fast forward to the new year, him and I the arguments just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and by February he said like it was over. But then it lasted a couple of hours, because we used to always do that. We would break up, but it would last a couple of hours and we get back together. So like I'm just like, okay, we're gonna get back together. But then after Valentine's Day, I'll never forget it, the day after Valentine's Day, he calls me to meet him up, and he's just like, yeah, it's over, like we're done, like this, we're not doing the cycle again, like it's actually done, it's over. And I remember it just like bawling so hard, and then like just like guys, picture me like on my knees begging this man to stay with me. Like that's how bad it was. Like I was crying on my knees. I'm like, you can't leave me. Like what am I gonna do? Like I can't live without you. Kind of situation. I was going so hard. And then so after that, I just went home, and I was under my pillow, under my covers, and I was just bawling. Like I just kept bawling. I missed a whole week of school. Till this day, I don't think my mom knows I missed a week of school. But like I missed a week of school. I was at my house crying all the time. My sister's like, what's wrong? I couldn't even tell her. I didn't eat. I lost so much weight that week. And then and I just kept saying like, oh my God, I really can't live like this. Like if this is 1 week, I can't even imagine what like a month, 2 months, like a year will look from now. So I started thinking like, I need to get this guy back. So fast forward to a couple weeks, I'm trying to get him back. I'm trying to be at the places that he is, and his mother and I were really really close. So I used to like trying to call her, text her to like get with her, so that I would see him, go to his church, and like see him kind of situation. Honestly, when I look back at this point, I feel like I look crazy as heck, but honestly, it is what it is. So I was doing the most to just try and get back with him, and then he just kept saying, no, we're not getting back together, like this is done, this is it. And like I knew he was serious. Like I just knew like this time he was serious. And I went home one night and I was just thinking, like, if I can't be with him, then I don't want to live. Like I don't want to be on this earth. I don't want to live. I don't want to see the next day. I can't like bear this pain. Like I don't know if you've ever been in a position where you've been heartbroken so deep that like you just don't see how you're gonna come out of it. Like it's very very painful. So I was at that point. It was extremely painful to even think about the next day. So that same night, my mom came to my room. She's like, oh, one of the neighbors wants you to babysit their kid the next day. Can you go ahead and babysit you and your sister? I'm like, yeah, sure, no problem. So the next day arrived, and throughout the night I was just like, I'm gonna kill myself. I'm gonna kill myself. Like there's no point of living. I'm gonna kill myself. So I made a point that after I was done babysitting, I'm gonna find a way to kill myself. So the next day, my sister and I, we walk over to the neighbors. Like I made everything's fine. Like I made it the best day like of my sister's life, because I'm just like, I know after today she's never gonna see me again, and that was my best friend. Still is my best friend. So I'm just like, I'm gonna make it like a point to like show her the best day, be with her the whole time, say I love her and all that kind of stuff. And while we were at the house babysitting the kids, we put the kids to bed at like 7 p.m. And then I just love my sister so much. Sometimes I think about what I put her through that day, and then I feel so bad. But so we put the kids to bed, and then we're watching the show. And then as we're watching the show, it was like 8 p.m. I remember so clearly. It was 8 p.m. I'm just like, okay, this is the time. Let me go. I just decided I'm gonna do it now. So I'm gonna go to the washroom and pretty much hang myself, and then leave it at that. So I say goodbye to her. I give her a hug. But I'm saying goodbye in the sense that like I'm just going to the washroom, but like she doesn't know why I'm saying goodbye. But I'm just like making fun of it. I'm like, okay, bye, give me a hug, I love you, kind of situation. And then she's just like, okay. And then my sister doesn't really like hugs like that. She's just like, yeah, kind of thing. But so yeah, so I did that, and I went to the washroom. I brought my scarf with me, and the washroom was like a single washroom, a powder room. And I had two scarves. I put one like at the bottom of the door, thinking like I just don't want, like I just wanted to feel like I'm suffocating myself. So I just thought that by blocking the space on the bottom of the door would just like stop the air. I don't know what I was thinking, but that's one of the things that I did. And then I ended up taking the scarf, and then I sat on the toilet and I was squeezing like my neck so hard so I can like lose oxygen and just like eventually pass out and die kind of thing. So as I'm squeezing so hard, all that kept coming to my mind is my pastor at the time, his testimony on how like he overcame suicide. And then in the background, as I was thinking that, the girl that was singing that day, the song that she was singing was really loud in my ears. And then so I'm like trying to kill myself, and then I'm just thinking about the testimony and how he overcame it, and then the girl just singing so powerfully in my ears. And then I'm just like, no, I'm shaking my head. I'm just like, no, I'm doing it. I can't live like this. So I'm like squeezing at this point I'm like squeezing so hard, like my neck was so red. And then so honestly it took about like 5 minutes, and everything, the noise that was in my head just stopped, and I just hear a loud voice saying, are you ready to go? And then at that point, I kind of got scared, because I'm just like, oh my god, who's in the washroom with me? Like, who's like seeing this or hearing this? But I look around, obviously nobody was there. So I'm like squeezing my neck even harder, and I hear again, are you ready to go? And then I just stop, and then I just stopped. I didn't say anything, I didn't think anything, I just stopped. And then I hear for a third time, are you ready to go? And then I'm just like, I start crying, and I'm like, no. And then so at that time, as soon as I said no, I heard another voice saying like, well, I'm not ready for you to go because I have so much in store for you. And then I just started bawling my eyes out. I was bawling so hard because I'm just like wow, like at this moment, like now that I think of it, I'm just like, God cares so much about me that He took the time to save me at that moment. Sorry guys, I'm not crying because I'm not over it, but it's just like every time I think about that time, it's like sometimes you put God through stuff or even yourself through stuff, and you're just like, how could you? And I love God so much, and I love myself so much now. And I'm just like, I can't believe I went through this, but at the same time, it's like, I know it's gonna help somebody, that even what I've gone through, and how I can help somebody. So I'm not crying because I'm not over it. I'm crying because honestly, I love my testimony. It is a hard one, but I love it. And that's me. So I was sitting in the washroom, and I was just like, I just didn't say anything. I didn't think of anything. And then I just got up and I went back and I sat beside my sister. And then from that moment, I'm just like, because I remembered that pastor and the song, I'm just like, I'm going back, I'm going to church. Like, there's a reason why I just heard this voice. And at the time I didn't know who the voice was, but like, no, I didn't know, I knew it was God, but I'm just like, I was still a little hesitant, but I just knew it was God. But I'm just like, I'm going back to church. So the very next Sunday, I went to that church that my cousin brought me, and then from that day, I never looked back. I just kept going every Sunday. I gave my life to Christ. I surrendered myself, and as I did that, I remember, because that was around right after February, Valentine's Day, so I would say February, March. And then as I got baptized on Easter that same year, and then in July, the devil tried it, because the same guy that I couldn't live without at that moment, it was Canada Day, and my friend's like, you'll come out with us and whatnot, and I'm just like, yeah, sure, whatever, we're gonna go out downtown. And as I went downtown, we went to this place, and I just had to go take the bus back home when it was like 2-3 in the morning, and that same guy was at the same bus stop downtown with me, and then he was just like, oh, I'm going to this party, but like, meet me back here in an hour and then we'll go home or whatever. And then I was just like, okay, well, maybe in my head I was thinking, oh, maybe God is like, you know, this is the moment that God wants us to reconnect, whatnot, whatever. So believe it or not, he left, and I stayed at the bus stop waiting for him for a whole hour, because he said he was gonna be back in an hour. So I sat there. Everybody's like, if you know Ottawa downtown, everybody's loud, everybody is intoxicated. So I was just sitting there in the midst of like everybody doing their thing at the bus stop, and I sat down for an hour. So by the time it was like 3 a.m., then it was 4 a.m., then it was 5 a.m., then it was 6 a.m. And then one of my other friends, she sees me, and she's like, what are you doing here? I'm like, oh, I'm waiting for him to say he's gonna be back. Like, I don't even know why I didn't leave after an hour, or even leave at all, but I stayed there for a good 5 hours right after. And she's like, oh, come to my house with me. So I went to her house, and then as I was sleeping, it was about around like 6:30 at that point, and she invited one of her guys, because she was sleeping on the floor, I was sleeping on her bed, and she invited her boyfriend to come over, and they just started having sex right on the ground while I was sleeping. And I'm just like, and I just sat there, like, as I was listening to that situation, as I was laying on the bed, I just like, this can never be my life ever again. Like, I've gone through this, like high school, this guy, and just in general, but I'm like, at that moment, something came over me. I'm just like, I need to surround myself with better people, better environment. I've been doing so good, and then just this random day, like, it just kind of like tried to like pull me back to my old life, and I'm just like, no, like, I'm not going back to what I used to be. And then it's at that time that God started even forming my identity, because I told you, like, I suffered with my identity for so long. So even at that moment, just recognizing what even myself, I deserve better for myself, I was just like, no, I can never go back. And from July 1st, 2010, I've never looked back. I've been in church, planted, and it's been the best decision of my life. I truly do believe it's important to love yourself before engaging into a relationship, because if I'm gonna speak out of experience, I wasted a lot of time with the wrong people because I didn't love myself, or I didn't know who I was. And being not knowing who you are and not loving yourself mixed in together is like you get stuck in situations that you shouldn't be stuck in at all, and it makes it harder even to get out because you feel like you owe that person something or whatever the case may be. So I do believe it is better to form your own identity, know who you are, know what your red flags are, know what are things are non-negotiables, because as a woman there's things that are definitely non-negotiables. I don't want to be involved with somebody that's gonna distract me or bring me in a different direction in my life. So it's important that I stand on my ground, and I know my foundations in God, and then like who He has created me to be, the woman He has created me to be, my values, my virtue, like everything about me needs to reflect the person I'm with. So I would say yes, it is important to know who you are and have your own self-identity before getting involved with somebody that may lead you astray or not. Alright, so my self-love right now, honestly speaking, this is probably one of the best moment of my life. If I can honestly speak transparently, this is probably it's been a year now where I've been really loving myself and really putting myself as a priority. I've been in a lot of situationships and a lot of time that I wasted on people that I shouldn't have wasted it on. So I didn't put myself first for a lot of years, up until like I would say a year and a half ago. I always put somebody else first. So the last year and a half, I've really been taking the time to love myself, prioritize myself, get to know myself again in a way. So I've been really nurturing who I am as a person and really putting myself, the things I love doing, things I want to do, the goals I need to achieve, like everything that I need to do. That's what I've been doing right now. So I've just been really loving my time. Honestly, I know in the world that we live in, lockdown has been really hard on a lot of people, but the time of being in lockdown really helped me to rediscover myself, rediscover what I like, rediscover just spending time with myself, even having days where I pamper myself, where I do things for myself. These have been the things I've been enjoying the past year, and as I'm still doing it right now, taking care of my body, taking care of my mental, my peace of mind. Like peace of mind has been the best thing that I could do for myself, and to just love myself. So that's what I've been doing. That's what it looks like right now. Just taking time for me and just really nurturing who I am. Alright, any advice I would give to women who are trying to be in a relationship right now, I would say, one, know your identity, know your purpose in life. If you don't know your own identity and you don't know your purpose in life, what's the point of bringing somebody with you and tagging them along and you just don't know where you're going? And that's been a thing for me, especially where I am going in life. Not a lot of men in a sense can handle that, or not a lot of people understand the vision that God has placed over my life, and it takes a really strong person to be with me. So therefore, for me, I have to recognize I can't have any type of person come into my life, be a part of my life that doesn't connect to the vision that God has given me. So I would say, know who you are, know what you were created for. Those two are very, very crucial to be with the person that you're gonna be with. Honestly, you're gonna like a lot of people. You're probably gonna love a lot of people. You're probably gonna feel like, oh my God, I can't live without this person, or I don't see myself being with somebody else but that person. But sometimes it's not who God has for you, and you really need to take that time, because marriage is for life. You don't want to make a mistake. You don't want to be miserable, or even before marriage, you don't want to be stuck in a relationship that doesn't serve you at all, and it's just gonna waste your time. So please, I am telling you, ladies out there listening right now, is just take the time to know who you are, your purpose. You have time. Don't ever feel like you don't have time. I think that's what it is. Even for me, as I'm a bit late in my 20s, I used to feel like, oh my gosh, like I need to hurry up. Like, God, what are you doing? Like, where are you? Kind of situation. But no, like there's a time and a season for everything, and God knows who you're gonna be with, the time it's supposed to happen. It might be early and it might be late, but during that period of time of singleness, that single season, just really take the time to know who you are and be with God in that moment, and just enjoy life. Please enjoy life. Like, enjoy life. Hi, my name is Dorleans, and this is my testimony.
Who could love me through my eyes and nose? Who can make me feel so vulnerable, Lord?